Okay, so it's time to give you guys my top 10 niche fragrances for winter 2022. And I do have some very good heavy hitters in this list. So stay tuned and find out what makes the top 10. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go ahead and smash the subscribe button down below. But that is right guys, my top 10 niche fragrances for winter 2022. Now, I did also make a top 10 designer fragrances for winter 2022. So if you missed that, definitely go catch that video and come back to this one. But like I said, I do have some great fragrances in this lineup. And what we're gonna be looking for winter, obviously, is gonna be like leather heavy fragrances, gourmands, woody, warm, amber, spicy, stuff like that. So without further ado and wasting any more time, let's get right into number 10. Okay, so coming in at number 10 is actually kind of a controversial fragrance. A lot of people would say this is designer, this is niche, so on and so forth. But I actually put more of the private line into the niche list and more of the signature line into the designer list. So, but the fragrance I'm speaking about here is actually a Tom Ford private blend. And it is Tom Ford's Effin' Fabulous. Now, this fragrance is making it up higher on the list at number 10 because honestly, for a private blend, it's definitely not my favorite whatsoever. And for that price tag, it's very expensive. I know the original private blends are $270 retail for 50 mil. This one is close to $400 for a 50 mil. I cannot justify that price for the fragrance you're getting. It is somewhat boring. What you're mostly gonna get is a heavy dose of leather in here. You're also gonna get a lot of almonds in here as well, which they do work kind of good together, but for some reason, I get this baby wipe vibe with Effin' Fabulous, and I think a lot of people do as well. And that can definitely throw people off. Now, with Effin' Fabulous, I'm definitely only gonna be reaching for this fragrance in the winter months. It's not my favorite, and I don't reach for it often, but here and there, I will kind of get a craving for Effin' Fabulous and I'll pull it out, but it is very seldomly. But yeah, that's number 10 is Tom Ford's Effin' Fabulous. Let's head over to number 9. All right, so coming in at number 9 is actually a fragrance that got a ton of hate just because of the person behind it. I don't think it deserves a hate whatsoever because all in all, it is a good fragrance, and what matters is the perfumer that made it, not the person behind the brand or anything like that. But number 9 is actually Fragrance One's Black Tie. And if you don't know, this is a fragrance brand from Jeremy Fragrance, which is obviously the biggest fragrance YouTuber. But with Black Tie, man, this is a beast mode fragrance. Pretty much like all of his line, guys. They are all beast mode. This one is even more so. This is actually an extrait to parfum, very highly concentrated. But with Black Tie, I do get this like leathery accord in here. Like a smoky leather. I don't think leather's listed. I think it's Gaiac wood that's actually coming across like leather. But you also get like cardamom in here. It makes it a little bit spicy. And you do get that like mandarin top note in here as well. So it's like very orange, very leathery and kind of spicy. But the way it comes across on skin, wow. This stuff is definitely polarizing. Definitely will turn heads, and everybody will smell you as soon as you walk into a room. And that room, it doesn't matter how big that room is. It can be a small room, it can be a huge room. They're gonna smell you with Black Tie. I promise you that. But now, yeah, this fragrance is very pricey. This is his most expensive fragrance in his line. I don't really think it's worth it, but he does offer a ton of discount codes. So if you can catch like a 60% off code, it would be worth it at that price for sure, because this is a solid fragrance by Alberto Marias. I love this one, and I reached for it quite a lot during the colder months, and that is, like I said, number 9 is Black Tie by Fragrance One. Okay, so coming in at number 8 is actually a fragrance that can be worn all year round. It is pretty versatile, but for me personally, I like to stick to the colder months, like winter and stuff like that for it. And the fragrance I'm speaking about is Mancera's Black Gold. And if you're not aware what Black Gold stands for, it's actually another name for oud. Just because oud is pretty much as expensive as gold, so they call it Black Gold. But yeah, with Mancera's Black Gold, now this isn't a very popular fragrance in the house by the house of Mancera. And I can see kind of why. It's a very, very complex fragrance and it's very unique and different. But it's actually kind of like an oud combination with florals. Now the florals definitely somewhat brighten up the composition with the oud, and it's very rare. And when I say florals, guys, I'm not really just talking about rose. I think there might be a rose in there kind of hidden, but it's behind a bunch of other flowers, kind of like a bouquet of flowers with this. And then you have that dark, kind of like smoky oud, especially when it dries down. It's very nice. And the florals don't last that long. Like I said, this is very complex, a ton of notes in here. And man, this fragrance changes on your skin probably like every hour or so. And I just love this one. It's kind of warming as well. And it just gives me happy vibes, probably because of the floral notes. But it's like a floral that you can wear in the winter, which I just love, because florals are usually for spring and summer. But once you add a dark, smoky kind of oud to it, it's definitely good for the winter. And that's number 8 is black gold. Okay, so heading to number 7. Number 7, we actually have a fantastic boozy fragrance, and it's actually by the house of Perfumes. You might know what I'm talking about. Of course, it's Creation E or Enigma, depending on where you're located in the world. But with Enigma, guys, you're gonna get a ton of booziness in here. Very boozy fragrance. One of the most boozy fragrances in my collection. I think it's by Cognac, I believe, is in here. And man, this is just done so well. I promise you guys, Perfumes never disappoints with his blends. He blends stuff to perfection, man. Every single fragrance I've ever tried by him, and I've actually tried all of the Parfum colognes, they are all fantastic. Obviously, I do have my favorites, but I respect them for what they are. And they're just so complex, man. Like Elysium, for instance, one of the most complex spring, summer heavy citrus fragrances, because it just changes so much and just develops on your skin. But with Creation E, like I said, it has a ton of booziness, but also it kind of smells like Coca-Cola. You get like this fizzy Coca-Cola vibe with this one too, what makes it pretty interesting. So if that sounds interesting to you, like a Coca-Cola smelling fragrance somewhat, definitely check out Creation E. But I love wearing this one in the quarter months, and this stuff does perform very, very well also. So yeah, that's number 7 is Creation E by Perfumes. Okay, at number 6, I have one of the most daring fragrances in my entire collection. This stuff here, man, I'm telling you, when you wear this one though, probably people are gonna stay away from you. They're not gonna come close to you and be like, yeah, you smell fantastic, because the fragrance I'm speaking about is Bond number 9's Dubai collection. This is Black Sapphire, and just check out that gold and black bottle. Man, this presentation's nice, but with the fragrance. So what are you gonna get with this? What I mostly get from Black Sapphire, it's very waxy. You have beeswax in here, which is like an animalic kind of note. It does obviously come from bees, so it's very, very waxy. But also this is like their it oud fragrance. This has a ton of oud in it, and it's not like it's not like a clean oud. It's not like a smoky oud, spicy oud, nothing like that, man. This is a barnyardy oud, a very dirty oud. A lot of people are not gonna like this unless you appreciate artistic fragrances, you appreciate for what they are, you appreciate unique stuff, and you love more complex fragrances and stuff like that. Not always crowd-pleasing blue fragrances. That's when you're gonna appreciate this work of art here. But yeah, ton of wax, very oudy. Man, this is just different, very different. The only time I would wear this one is in the winter. Probably not even really fall. It's gonna have to be very cold for me to wear this one, because even slightly warm, like on warm days, man, this stuff is gonna be choking people out. It's gonna be very cloying. And like I said, a lot of people are not gonna like this unless you appreciate fragrances. Your typical person, no way they're gonna like this one. It honestly smells like driving down like Amish roads, when you know how they have like horses on the side of the road, like horse and buggies and stuff, and sometimes you see manure on the side of the roads. That's what this kind of smells like. That I know that sounds terrible, but it's very exotic, very expensive as well. I think this bottle is like 550 bucks, so very pricey. Might be my most expensive bottle in my collection. Actually, I think that it is. But that's at number, what are we on? 10, 9, 8, 7. That's number 6 is Black Sapphire. Okay, so now we're getting into the top 5. So at number 5 is actually a flanker that does not get much love from the other flankers in this line and the original. And the fragrance to speak about is Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Le Intense. Now, with Le Intense, I think a lot more people are recognizing this fragrance now, but I've had it for, I believe, maybe a year or so now, for quite a while. But with this one, if you're familiar with the original and all the other line, it does have a heavy dose of almond, which they all do. That's how you kind of know it's from this line, the L'Homme Ideal line. But you also get a ton of leather with this fragrance. And it's somewhat spicy, somewhat smoky leather in there. And man, it's just done fantastic. If you love Guerlain, you love leather, you love darker fragrances, you have to check this one out because the other ones from the line are not as dark as this one. I do own the Eau de Parfum, which is like a cherry, sweet, heavy fragrance. Then I own the Sport, which is a spicy, like aquatic fragrance, which is very unique. Check out my review of that one. I just reviewed it recently. But now we have the L'Intense, a leather heavy, almond heavy, smoky, leathery fragrance with this one, man. And it's done beautifully. Obviously, what you expect from Guerlain is a well-blended fragrance. And Guerlain is actually one of my favorite niche fragrance houses of all time, especially for the prices you can get them at. And they are a niche house. Just because you can get them fairly inexpensive does not mean anything, man. They've been making fragrance and cosmetic mostly for over 100 years, and that's all they do. They're not a designer house, they are a niche house. So, and that's why this is coming in at number 5 is L'Intense. I love this one for the cool months. Okay, so coming in at number 4, I had to put this one in the list, even though it's very versatile as well, but I think it works the best in the winter months because it's very warming. Very, very warming. And the fragrance I'm speaking about is Parfums de Malle Layton. Now, I know a lot of people usually put like Harrod and stuff like that. I do not own Harrod, which is like a tobacco heavy fragrance, which will work perfect in the winter too. I have smelled it many, many times, but I'm going off of the fragrances I have in my collection, and I love Layton for the cold months. Now, what you get with this one, you get a ton of apple, but you also get alongside the apple, you get this creamy, warming vanilla. And how I would describe Layton is like a very warm apple pie. That's how I would actually describe this one. Like I said, very comforting, very warm. Just think of like a warm apple pie baking in the oven. When you look outside, it's snowing, and you're eating the apple pie. It's very, very soothing, very comforting. That's what Layton is, and that's why I love reaching for this one in the colder months. And I wear this one all the time during winter, guys. And this one garnishes a ton of compliments. Also, one of my most complimented niche fragrances in my collection is Layton. And it's for a very, very good reason because it's amazing. Okay, so coming in at number 3 is a fragrance that I just recently got. And it's a very, very smoky fragrance as well. And we're talking about a fragrance by the House of Imaginary Authors. And we have a City on Fire. Just think of that name right there, a City on Fire. What are you gonna imagine with that? You're gonna imagine burning wood. You're gonna imagine ashes. You're gonna imagine like that black soot from the leftover smoke and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what you get with this fragrance. I think the imaginary note in here is also burnt match. So if you've ever lit a match and you smell, that's kind of what you get with this. You do get that burnt match vibe, but with this fragrance, man, whew, you do have like cade oil, you have spikenard, cardamom. It's very spicy, but what's mostly is it's very, very smoky and very woody, almost like a cabin that just burnt down. And maybe, all right, so how I would describe this, it kind of smells like burning bacon, to be honest with you guys. Or like beef jerky, like smoked beef jerky that's been smoking for days. I do get those some similarities. It's kind of like, say, a cabin, pretty much like a beef jerky cabin that just burnt down. So you're gonna get that burnt woody, you're gonna get like that beef jerky smokiness, and that's kind of what this fragrance is. Now, what's funny is the first time wearing this one, like 9 hours in, I actually got a compliment from this girl saying, "Man, you just always smell so good." And it kind of shocked me because when I first did a first impression of this, I was like, no one's ever gonna really compliment this fragrance, but I don't really care because I just love this one. I'm gonna wear it for myself. And yeah, first day wearing it at work, it got a compliment. So that actually kind of lit up my eyes. I was like, wow. Because this one does dry down to be a lot more pleasant to the nose from the opening. The opening of this stuff is very, very harsh. And actually the first day testing it, after I did that first impression, I was like, wow, the performance isn't the best. It was kind of like going away from my skin. And I don't think that's a problem with the house. I did try their samples as well that they sent out, and the other ones performed fantastic. Like Cape Heartache, that's also a very good like pine strawberry fragrance, which I love. But a City on Fire was kind of like disappearing. but maybe I missed my arm or something and didn't get much juice because at work, guys, like I said, 9 hours in, got a compliment. But yeah, that's at number 3 is a City on Fire. If you love smoke, you have to have this one in your collection. All right, so at number 2 is a very mysterious, potent fragrance. And the fragrance I'm speaking about is Nasamato's Black Afgano. Whew, all right, what can I say about Black Afgano? Now, like I said, it's very mysterious, but with this one, it is very unique. It's very earthy. Somewhat like get some kind of like oud in here. I think there's also like a cannabis. It's very green, very herbal. Yeah, man, this stuff is dense. This is, like I said, an straight up off foam. And look at that juice, very dark purple juice. That's pretty much what describes this fragrance, the purple juice inside. It's just very mysterious. You can't really pinpoint exactly what you're smelling. Yeah, man, it's just different stuff right here. Never smelled anything like it, but yeah, I do only stick to the winter months with this beast because it's very strong and it pushes through negative degrees like it's no problem at all. It definitely projects for a very long time. And just like the City on Fire, I've also got a couple compliments on this fragrance as well, where girls actually wanted me to write it down for them. They were blown away by the fragrance. They said it just smells so good with my skin chemistry, stuff like that. So yeah, I wrote this fragrance for people down before. Man, it's just good. I don't know. And it's just a fantastic, it's not really warming. It's not really, yeah, it's not creamy. It's not really like comforting, but something about it just makes it perfect for winter months. And that's why it's coming in at number 2 is Black Afgano by Nasamato. All right, at number 1, guys. So let's see who's taking the number 1 spot for my top 10 niche winter list of 2022. Now, the fragrance I have here in my hands has quickly became one of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. And the fragrance is Frederic Malle's Musk Ravageur. Wow. If you've never heard of this fragrance, you have to at least sample it. It's very spicy, very vanilla heavy, but very musky, guys. And it's not like your clean white musk that you typically get in a lot of fragrances as a base note. No. With Musk Ravageur, you get in that animalic musk. Very furry. It almost smells like a furry, what musk is. It smells furry in here. Just so animalic, so spicy, and creamy from the vanilla. How I would actually describe this one. And definitely if you're a woman watching this one as well, if you're familiar with Shalimar from Guerlain, which is a fragrance that's been around for, I think, like around 100 years now. Very classic fragrance that is timeless. But with Musk Ravageur, this is somewhat in the same scent profile as being spicy, being vanilla heavy, creamy. But this is like a more masculine version of Shalimar. And that's pretty much what this fragrance is, with an added dense of furry musk. Yeah, this is just sexy as well, man. This is gonna be one of the most sexy fragrances of all time. If someone asks me, hey, what's a sexy fragrance that will allure, women or anything like that, I'm definitely going with Musk Ravageur, because that's pretty much what musk is, at least in the animal kingdom. Yeah, I love this stuff, and I love it for the colder months. This will also work in the fall, but something about it being spicy, creamy, and musky, it just works amazing for the winter as well. Like a deer, you see deer walking around, stuff like that. That's just what it reminds me of, guys. But that's at number 1 is Frederic Malle's Musk Ravageur. And yeah, I'm going to be reviewing this very, very soon because I have to. It definitely deserves a full review. But that's going to wrap up the top 10 niche winter fragrances of 2022. Let me know down below if you agree with any of these fragrances, if you're going to pick any of these up for the winter or at least sample and test. Let me know down below, and also let me know what your top 10 or top any niche fragrances for the winter months is. I'm also curious. But leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.